joining us for Bhagavad Das's Bhagavad Gita class and Kirtan.
Haribol, namaste.
Namo Vishnu Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Siddhaswarup Ananda Paramahamsa Iti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Siddhaswarup Ananda Paramahamsa Iti Namine Namo Siddhaswarup Ananda Paramahamsa Namine Gaurakaruna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestaya Te Namo Siddhaswarup Ananda Paramahamsa Namine Gaurakaruna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestaya Te Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Iti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Iti Namine Raja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktavinda Raja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktavinda Raja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktavinda Raja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Raja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda
Raja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita
Gadadhar
Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur Hari Bol 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 Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur Hari Bol
Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur
Hari Bol
Hari Bol
Nitai Gaur Nitai
Gaur
Hari Bol Nityananda Nityananda Gauranga Gauranga Nityananda Nityananda Gauranga Gauranga Nityananda Nityananda Gauranga
Nityananda
Nityananda Nityananda Nityananda Gauranga Gauranga Nityananda Nityananda Gauranga Nitai Gaur Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama. Sorry, no, I'm not wanting to play that one. Alright, that's okay. I was trying to do a different one, but I've forgotten the tune, so just have to do another one. Seems like I'll have to play that tune because I can't get out of it, so Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Bo Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hare Bo, Bo Nitai Gaur,
Gita go, Hare Bo,
Hare Bo Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hare Bo,
Hare Bo, Gita go, Gita go, Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Gita go, Gita go, Hare Bo.
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Alright, sorry about that, folks.
Jaya Vishnu Paramahansa Parirodika Satar Singh Shishima Chikaku Siddha Swarupananda Shiprabha Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jaya Vishnu Paramahansa Parirodika Satar Singh Shishima His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Kota Vaishnava Ki Jai. Prince Vikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Nitai Goes World Mission Ki Jai. Navadvita Dhamma Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhani Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shrimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Amagina Timurandasya Gana Gana Salakaya Chaksurun Militanyena Tajmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Statpitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raganatham Vitam Tam Sajavam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhi Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakapa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanan Pavenbhyo Vaishnavbhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Siddhaswarupananda Paramahansa Niti Namine. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahansa Namine. Gaura Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prastayate. For speaking, first I offer my respectful obeisances under the lotus feet of my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada is the mercy manifestation of Lord Chaitanya, and is very dear to Radha and Krishna. And I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are like wish-fulfilling trees, able to satisfy the desires of all the fallen souls, and have compassion upon them. So yesterday, of course, was the appearance day of Srila Prabhupada, and I hope you all had a nice day reflecting upon Srila Prabhupada and his wonderful mercy and compassion and love which he showers us with. And remember where we would be without the grace of our spiritual master. For it's only by the grace of our spiritual master that we are chanting the names of Krishna, that we know anything about Krishna, that we have the opportunity to study and realize and understand Bhagavad Gita, to chant the holy names of Krishna, and thereby, through the power of the holy names and the grace of our spiritual master, to purify our hearts and come close to Krishna and actually realize that pure love for Krishna is lying latent in our hearts, just waiting to come out, covered over by ignorance and envy and hate and lust and anger, all these other anathas or unwanted things that are in the way of our realizing our true spiritual identity and allowing love for Krishna to manifest in our hearts and lives. So actually yesterday I took unfortunately because there was no particular gathering, I took the day to actually watch a whole lot of video lectures on sif.yoga of Srila Prabhupada speaking. And it was just, the way he speaks so clearly, so convincingly, and makes his points easy for anyone to understand. And anyway, it was very inspiring. So on Friday night, I gave a class in Healing Chant 108, where I spoke about Bhagavad Gita in the different verses in Bhagavad Gita in relation to accepting a spiritual master. So if you like, you could watch that, and it may be helpful for you. Tonight we're going to continue our discussion on the 3 verses of 2:11 to 2:13, which is 3 verses with kind of a theme of the self is different from the body. So I'll just read the 3 verses again, just in case you've forgotten them or I've forgotten them. So these are the first teachings of Krishna to Arjuna, once Arjuna has surrendered to Krishna, accepted him as his spiritual master, spiritual teacher, and is now listening to Krishna, asking Krishna to tell him what is definitely right for him, what is best for him, what should his duty be in this situation he's in. And so Krishna says, I'll just recite the Sanskrit and then read the English. Shri Bhagavan Nuvacha. So again, it's always very important when it says Shri Bhagavan Nuvacha. So Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is speaking. It is not some other person, some other jiva soul. No, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. Bhaga mean referring to opulences, and Van meaning full of. So Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full of all opulences, the most beautiful. We're all attracted to beauty. If you see a beautiful woman, then everybody's like, oh, isn't she so beautiful? We're very attracted to this naturally. And so Krishna is the most beautiful, and we are naturally attracted to Krishna. So to his great beauty, his great knowledge, his strength, floating all the universes in space effortlessly. In fact, he delegates that power to someone else. And his fame, no one is more famous than God or Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is known all throughout the world, in the three worlds. The wealthiest. He owns everything. Everything is his. And yet he's the most renounced. He has not that much interest in this material world and all its stuff. So Sri Bhagavan, he who is possessed of all opulences, and he who is the Lord of Shri. So Sri Bhagavan, it refers to the Lord of Shri, Shri being Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, the expansion of Srimati Radharani. And so he's the Lord of all wealth. And sometimes this is translated as the Blessed Lord. So Krishna, the Blessed Lord. So Krishna, the Blessed Lord, speaks. Aso shannan vaso chastvam prajna varams jabasase kata sumscha nanu so shanti panditaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. Na tveva ham jatunasa, na tvam nemi janadivaha, na chaiva nabhavisyamaha, save vaya mata param. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Taheno ashmin yatha dehi, kamaram yavanam chara, tatha dehantara praptiya, dhiras tacha namuyate. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body, from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person, a dhira, is not bewildered by such a change. So last week we had just concluded reading Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami's purport, and I just had some comments from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, and also from Baladevi Vijayabhusana's. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, he says, so this is on text 12, that that never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So Srila Vishwanath, speaking Krishna's thoughts, is saying, if the soul is the object of affection, the soul should not be the object of lamentation, because it cannot suffer death. It is not that I, the the Paramatma, have ever, the super soul or supreme soul, have ever not been in existence. Rather, I have always existed. You also, a Jivatma, have always existed. The kings, also Jivatmas, have always existed. Here the Lord shows that previous non-existence is absent for all souls. And it is not that I, you, and these kings will not exist in the future. Rather, we will certainly exist. Here, he shows that the soul is devoid of destruction. By this he concludes that since the Paramatma and Jiva are both eternal, there is no cause for lamentation. So Srila Baladev Vidyabhusana says, now Krishna speaks about the fundamental difference between the jivas and himself. For certain we will exist, because the jiva, like the Lord of all, exists in all three phases of time, so past, present, and future. It is not proper to lament concerning the jiva. So then Srila Baladev Vidyabhusana then used this verse, or rather commented on this verse to explain or to refute the impersonalist philosophy of Mayavada, this philosophy that this world is illusion, that it has no real existence. Just excuse me, I just have to check who's calling. Someone's calling me on my phone. Sorry, I thought it might have been our friend calling. But no, just someone else. So sorry for that. So Srila Baladev Vidyabhusana makes various refutations of impersonalists. So the Mayavadi philosophy is that there is only one soul, or one. They don't necessarily call it soul, but they call it Brahman, and that it's just an undifferentiated plane. But somehow or other, the philosophy actually doesn't make any practical sense, but somehow or other, Sankaracharya and the various impersonalists coming in succession from him, or at least using his ideas, have been able to somehow manipulate things to make it seem like, well, there's just one Brahman, and that somehow the Brahman gets covered by illusion and comes to this temporary material world to enjoy its this Brahman. Not quite sure who it really is, because this Mayavadi philosophy denies the existence of the individual soul. So anyway, you've all heard many lectures where Srila Prabhupada describes the nonsense of the impersonalist philosophy. But the whole philosophy is that there's no difference between you and me. So in other words, there's no point in me talking to you, because I am you and you are me, and we're all one, and but of course they don't see it like that. They see it as like, well, even though I'm you and you are me, I've realized that and you haven't. So out of my compassion for you, and now I'm trying to enlighten you to understand that you're actually me, and we're all the one impersonal Brahman, and this is all just an illusion, that it's all false. And so in this verse, Krishna is very setting right from the beginning. And this is his second text where he's speaking to Arjuna. So right from the beginning, he's emphasizing the individuality of the soul. Like you, and not just, the eternal individuality. In the past, in the present, and in the future. There's never a time when you didn't exist. You exist right now, and you shall always exist in the future as an individual soul. So this is, a very important point to understand, just how important this is. This idea of eternal individuality. Like you are always an individual. Always. Nitya. You never cease to be. You never came, as Krishna says in text chapter 2, text 20, you never najayate mriyate vakarachin nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyaha. It's like you do not come into being. You haven't come into being. You don't come into being. And you never don't are in being, So it's like such an important point to understand and actually realize. You are always an individual. You never merge into the Brahman and lose your individuality. You may temporarily forget your individuality and become unaware of it. But nonetheless, you remain an individual, always. So Srila Baladeva Vijayabhusani says, this is not just an illusory difference between the jiva and the Lord caused by ignorance, which is the Mayavadi philosophy, that it's only ignorance that makes us think that we're individuals. It's just like some kind of illusion or ignorance. So this is not just an illusory difference. It's not just an illusion that I'm an individual and you're another individual. This is actually the reality. You are always an eternal individual, and I am always an eternal individual. This is not just an illusory difference between the jiva and Lord caused by ignorance, but which will disappear with the dawn of knowledge. So this is, so the impersonalist idea that, once we become enlightened, or we realize that we're just all spiritual in essence, but that we're all the supreme Brahman, that we're all Brahman and non-different. Whereas the devotee, when the devotee becomes self-realizes, he realizes that, I am the servant of God, that I'm spiritual, aham brahmasmi, I'm spiritual in essence, but I'm not the Supreme Spirit. I'm the dominated part and parcel of the Supreme Spirit. And that my function is, my eternal function is service and loving, to engage in the loving service of the Supreme Soul. So this is a completely different realization. There's both the impersonalist realization and the personalist realization as the understanding that I'm spiritual in essence. But at that point, the realization differs. And it's not that impersonalism does not have basis in reality, because they are trying to merge into Krishna's effulgence, into the Brahman. So this is one of the three aspects of the absolute truth. Brahmete, Paramamete, Bhagavan Niti Sabjate. It's so sounded. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 11. It's so sounded within the Vedic literatures, Shabda, that there is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, the three aspects of the absolute truth. So, because this is not just an illusory difference between the jiva and Lord caused by ignorance, but which will disappear with the dawn of knowledge, because Bhagavan who is speaking, being omniscient, has no connection with ignorance at all. So the impersonalist, of course, doesn't appreciate who Krishna is. They think that they are actually Krishna, like the impersonalist gurus. They speak as though, well, I was Krishna in the past, and now I'm Sai Baba or whoever, right? They don't appreciate that who Krishna is. That Krishna is Sava Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes. Have no appreciation of this. They think that Krishna is a manifestation of the Brahman. They don't understand that Krishna is the basis of the Brahman. Krishna says in 14:28, Brahmano hi pratishtaham, I am the basis of the Brahman. Krishna is the cause of the Brahman. It is his dazzling effulgence. So Krishna never comes under illusion. When he appears in this world, he's never under illusion. He appears here for his transcendental pastimes. He appears within his Satchidananda body, his eternal Satchidananda Vigraha, his eternal form of eternity, cognizance, and bliss. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat is eternity, Chit is cognizance, and Ananda is bliss. So Krishna appears here in his transcendental body, and is never comes under illusion. So it is Krishna who is speaking, and he has no connection with ignorance. Even in the liberated state, the jiva's separate designation is acknowledged in the scriptures. And so he quotes Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, text 2. By becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. So here Krishna is essentially saying that becoming fixed in the knowledge and becoming liberated, not being born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution, that still you are an individual, always. When you achieve liberation. So it is not like Krishna is saying, oh, you've eternally existed in the past, you exist in the present, and you'll always exist in the future. He's not adding a caveat to it until you become liberated and then become liberated from ignorance and then cease to exist. No. Krishna is stating, once you attain liberation, then you still exist as an eternal individual. Shruti, or scripture, indeed declares the difference between the soul and the Lord. The descriptions of God and Jiva are subject matters unknown to common men, because they correlate distinctive contrary qualities to God and Jiva. The mutually contrary qualities of the Lord and the Jiva, greatness and smallness, lordship and servitude, can be understood only through scripture. So we'll move on to text 13. And so just Srila Sridhara Swami, the Sri Vaishnava commentator on Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, he makes, in his commentary in text 12, he kind of links text 12 to text 13. Text 13 being, as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person adhira, is not bewildered by such a change. So Srila Sridhara Swami says, it may be argued that although it is certainly true that the Supreme Lord Krishna is not ever subject to birth and death, being transcendental to the material manifestation, but what about the individual living entities who every day are dying and being born? This is what is answered in this verse. So should Arjuna question how it is that the self can be different from the body, when experience appears to say that when the body dies, so does the soul? Krishna addresses this misperception with the following example from our common experience. When someone dies, it's kind of like, it's the common perception, oh, they die, okay, now they have ceased to exist. And you don't see anything, you don't see a person leave, you don't see the soul is invisible. So, generally speaking, most people have no idea what death really is, other than believing that it's like, well, the body has stopped working and you are the body, therefore you've ceased existing. Although, of course, a lot of times people are just really uncomfortable with that idea because it just doesn't really make sense. I always remember, Prabhupada in a video lecture, just talking about how it's like a gear going the wrong way. It's like they just don't want to. The idea of ceasing to exist, death just goes against the grain. Just doesn't feel right. Even as we grow older in our bodies, we still feel like we're the same person. We still feel young. It's just that now the body doesn't work so good anymore. So, in this verse, it's like, it's Krishna is stating it's the individual soul that remains constant amidst changing bodies. And were the self the body, it wouldn't remember the changes from childhood, Kaumaram, to youth, Yavanam, and old age, Jara. For each of these bodies are different. So, the body's completely changed. So if you're the body, how could the body remember its previous bodies? The whole the idea doesn't make sense. So the recollection of different bodies we experience is the result of our being different from them and being changeless ourselves. So obviously where the spirit soul is the constant factor that is able to remember, oh, I was a child, I was a youth, and now I'm in old age. And then Krishna also implies here that no one laments when a child's body is replaced by an adult's body. In fact, usually that's kind of a cause of celebration, right? The child's finally like, oh wow, finally over it, over this childhood thing. Now I can get on with my life. Of course, maybe the parents feel, oh, my baby's leaving home, so perhaps some of them might lament in that situation. But generally speaking, somebody moving from childhood to youth to maturity, these are all taken as like good things. So nobody laments about that. And and they don't cry when an adult body changes into an old age body. It's just seen and understood as a natural progression, right? From childhood to boyhood to old age. It's like a natural progression as one progresses through the different phases of life, and of course everyone goes through these phases of life. And so even if sometimes people do lament when people change from a young body or an adult body into a old old age body, but in this case, Drona and of course Arjuna is most concerned about Bhishma Dev and Drona Acharya, his beloved grandsire, grandfather, his beloved military teacher. So he's most concerned about them and them dying. But when they die, they'll actually get young bodies. Right? When they leave that body, they will take on a new body, and so this is a good thing. Like when my father, he's like 90. He recently turned 95, I think, at his 95th birthday. But he's like, he's like completely, more or less forgotten, almost who he is, and he's forgotten who I am. That's for sure. He can kind of sort of remember sometimes. And my other brothers, like we do like a FaceTime video when they go and visit him, and he's just like completely lost the plot. Got no idea what's going on. It's very sad, and presumably he'll just unfortunately probably get worse. But it's like, so the idea I'm trying to convey is like, well, when an old person like that, life is very difficult. So of course, when they leave their body, then they get a new body, and so, well, that's a good. Certainly, there's nothing to lament in that. So so therefore, from either a material or a spiritual point of view, there's nothing to lament. So in Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's report, since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. This individual soul finally changes the body at death and transmigrates to another body. And since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, either material or spiritual, there was no cause for lamentation by Arjuna on account of death, neither for Bhishma nor for Drona, for whom he was so much concerned. Rather, he should rejoice, for their changing bodies from old to new ones, thereby rejuvenating their energy. Bhishma and Drona, being noble souls, were surely going to have spiritual bodies in the next life, or at least life in heavenly bodies for superior enjoyment of material existence. So in either case, there was no cause of lamentation. And if a Kshatriya dies in battle, then he ascends to Swarga, or heaven, the heavenly planets. And actually, I was reading something about the Kurukshetra, and that one of the reasons why Kurukshetra was such a special place for this battle, because whoever died at Kurukshetra would ascend to heaven. So in this case, it's like, Bhishma and Drona were going to be better off. As Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami says, they were great and noble souls. In fact, Bhishma Dev is one of the 12 Mahajans, one of the great souls, and great people. And if they left their bodies, they would either go to the spiritual world or at the very least go to the heavenly planets. So they're going to be better off. Right now they've got, old bodies, which are becoming, which become a hassle basically. Any man who has perfect knowledge of the constitution of the individual soul, the super soul and nature, both material and spiritual, is called a dhira, or a most sober man. Such a man is never deluded by the change of bodies. So a self-realized person is very sober. They're a dhira. They see things as they are. So this being sober doesn't mean that you don't have any fun, or you don't laugh, or it just means, like a dhira is someone who sees things as they are. Their eyes are not covered by illusion. They see the reality of life. They're not bewildered by somebody dying. They understand that this is the natural progression of life, and that they're not the body, that they continue to exist, and now they are taking on another birth, another body, through the workings of material nature. So there's no lamentation, there's no bewilderment, there's no wailing and crying and abject misery. They're very sober. They see things as they are. And Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami then describes that the Mayavadi theory of oneness of the spirit soul cannot be entertained on the ground that the spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces as a fragmental portion. Such cutting into different individual souls would make the Supreme cleavable or changeable against the principle of the Supreme Souls being unchangeable. As confirmed in the Gita, in text chapter 15, text 7 and 16, the fragmental portion of the Supreme exists eternally, sanatana. So in 15:17, Krishna says, Mama evamsa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha. So Mama evamsa, these are my fragmental portions. The jiva exists eternally, sanatana. So again, Krishna states there in Bhagavad Gita that the soul is in that verse, then he's saying, actually, and this is the verse that is the idea of the part and parcel description, is that the spirit soul, the jiva, is my eternal fragmental portion. And are called kashara, fallible. That is, they have a tendency to fall down into material nature. These fragmental portions are eternally so, and even after liberation, the individual soul remains the same, fragmental. But once liberated, he lives an eternal life in bliss and knowledge with the personality of Godhead. The individual fragmental spirit soul is represented by Arjuna, and the Supreme Soul is the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. They are not on the same level, as it will be apparent in the beginning of the 4th chapter. So at the beginning of the 4th chapter, Lord Sri Krishna says, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god, Vivashwan, and Vivashwan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee, as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of the science. So here Krishna is narrating something that happened millions of years ago, and he's saying that he instructed the sun god. So then Arjuna, thinks for a moment, and then he says, Arjuna says, the sun god Vivashwan is senior by birth to you. So Arjuna's like, wait a minute, Krishna, you're talking about events that took place millions of years ago, and yet, you only, took birth in Kamsa's prison Not that many years ago. So what do you mean you instructed this imperishable science to Vivishwan, the sun god? How's this possible? So Arjuna is like questioning him. The sun god Vivishwan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? So this is nicely said. How am I to understand? In other words, he's not denying it. He's not saying, he's not like, oh, that's not possible. How could that be? No, he's just asking, how should I understand that? How can I comprehend that? And so, of course, this should always be the attitude of the disciple. If we don't understand something, it's not because it's wrong. It's just because I'm not currently able to understand that. And so, we may come across different ideas in Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam or the different Vedic literatures, or we may hear things that our spiritual master speaks, and we may not understand them. So with the attitude of the disciple, having full faith and confidence in their spiritual master, that we, and Krishna, that we realize, well, I just don't understand that at this time. And so we can pray to our spiritual master and Krishna to please enlighten me, to please let me understand this verse or this concept. And actually you'll find, or I have found, that whenever if I really don't understand something and I pray about it and chant on my beads, then, as Krishna says in 10:11, that he enlightens us from within with the shining lamp of knowledge. So realization will come. Or it may be that you read a verse, a few years later, or you listen to the same lecture a few years later, and it's like suddenly it's like, now you get it, now you understand it. So the attitude of the disciple, the serious seeker, should always be that it's, I don't understand it. And not that it's wrong, it's just, I don't understand it. So Arjuna's kind of like, well, I don't understand this, Krishna, what you're saying. So then this is the point Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami was making, that in chapter 4 it'll become apparent that Krishna is not an ordinary jiva. There is a distinction here. It's not like Krishna is just some wise man or a dhira or a pandit educating, or a guru, a regular jivatma who may be a guru speaking to Arjuna. No, this is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in response to Arjuna's question, Krishna says, the many, many births both you and I have passed, I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. So this is the difference between Krishna and Arjuna, between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the marginal potency of Krishna, the Tatastha Shakti, the individual Jivatma. If Arjuna is on the same level of Krishna, and Krishna is not superior to Arjuna, then their relationship of instructor and instructed becomes meaningless. If both of them are deluded by the illusory energy Maya, then there is no need of one being the instructor and the other the instructed. Such instruction would be useless, because in the clutches of Maya, no one can be an authoritative instructor. So when we are seeking spiritual knowledge. We need to seek out a pure lover of Krishna, a bona fide spiritual master, who's free of all influence of Maya. He's not covered by ajnana or ignorance. Under the circumstances, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami always has such a way with words. Under the circumstances, it is admitted that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord, superior in position to the living entity Arjuna, who is a forgetful soul deluded by Maya. In this case, of course, Arjuna is deluded by Yoga Maya, Krishna's internal potency, not Mahamaya, his illusory energy under which we are placed. So that's the end of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami's purport. And once again, I have some points from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Srila Baladevi Vijayabhusana that I would like to discuss next week. And in Baladevi Vijayabhusana's commentary, he refers to the story of Jayati, Maharaj Jayati, who became, I'm going to talk about the story at length next week, but anyway, he got cursed to take an old body, he was cursed to age prematurely, and he was able to exchange his old age for youth. And so anyway, it's a very interesting story or pastime that I'll discuss next week, which is from the 9th canto, chapter 18 and 19 of the 9th canto. And anyway, the idea why Srila Baladevi Vijayabhusana is quoting it is because he's saying there's no need to lament. Drona and Acharya are going to get young bodies, and they'll be joyful, just as Maharaj Jayati rejoiced when he was able to swap his old age with his son Puru to take his youth. So anyway, it's a fascinating story and enlightening in various different ways. So we'll discuss that next week. So once again, thank you very much for watching and listening. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak on Bhagavad Gita to you all, and in fact to anyone. And if anyone has any questions, you can just message me on Facebook or just do that. Message me on Facebook, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. And on Friday night in Healing Chant 108 on Facebook Live, I'll be concluding my discussion on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 66. And also this Sunday is International Yoga Day, and at 3 p.m. Hawaii time, 2 p.m. Hawaii time, Radhisham and I will be having a kirtan, and I'll be giving a yoga wisdom talk, so you're welcome to join us for that.
Tomorrow doing the kirtan.
And tomorrow Radhisham's doing a kirtan at 7 p.m. at Yoga Kirtan Hawaii. So thank you very much. Haribol. I'll do it.
Haribol. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Kashi Bhuvakshaya Silatankana Kulai Itona Shinga Paratona Shingo Yato Yato Yanita Tona Shinga Ayana Shingo Edayana Shingo Shinga Madim Sharana Haribo.
Haribo.
Namaste.